Still on the main point here, but a couple more pieces of detail.
Professor Gary Hanson easily spends a lot of his time in the classroom, but he also spends a lot of time here in Akron General Hospital. This is the third time Gary is battling cancer.
Now it's just kind of got it.
Which causes him to wonder.
Am I going to die?
Gary is best known as a veteran journalist turned beloved professor. With a successful background as a news director and expert in the broadcast industry, he has spent 14 years now inspiring journalism students at Kent State.
Gary was the first professor I had at Kent that really inspired me to be a journalist.
Just in recent years, the university honored Gary for the impact he has in the classroom. Faculty in the School of Journalism could never imagine losing an invaluable educator and friend like Gary Hanson.
I mean, not to brag, but I've had more good things happen to me in the last 3 years than I think a lot of professors sometimes have in a career.
But while dedicating his life to the school, he's been fighting to keep his life. In September of 2010, Gary went to the emergency room in excruciating pain.
I was really frightened, and so the fact that I was going to get to my 60th birthday, there was a doubt in my head.
At 59 years old, Gary was diagnosed with a rare form of prostate cancer called small cell carcinoma. He and his wife of more than 30 years, Louette, sat down with me in their home to relive the day he was first diagnosed.
I think I remember the doctor's exact words at some of those moments. The news is not good.
Yeah,
when he said those words, you feel like the bottom falls out of your stomach.
Gary's oncologist says small cell prostate cancer is an aggressive disease that is almost guaranteed to keep returning, even after chemotherapy.
It's really hard to cure the disease at this stage.
After his first diagnosis, Gary began chemotherapy.
It was the first time I really felt like I was fighting back.
But 2 years later, in September of 2012, the disease returned. Gary fought back even harder, undergoing surgery with Louette by his side.
I mean, we both had to take a minute and kind of ingest all of that.
But less than a year later, in the summer of 2013, the cancer was back and spreading throughout his body.
You kind of wonder, why me?
After a rough summer, Gary went back to teaching and back to chemotherapy. But in his darkest hours, the love of his life is his rock.
On a cold November afternoon in 1975, we stood in a little country church in South Dakota and promised each other that we'd be there.
With her support, he decided to teach his hardest course load ever this fall, instead of taking time off from work.
Getting around students, getting around my kind of normal life, I think was really good mental therapy. I think we're as normal as we've ever been, which is not...
Careful.
Remaining positive, there's no other way Gary would prefer to spend his precious time than doing what he loves and being with who he loves.
Tomorrow's going to take care of itself somehow, but I need to do something important today.
Gary says if the cancer returns, he will keep fighting, because what the doctors at the Cancer Center give him, he will always be grateful for. Time. Caitlin LeBeau, TV2 News.